What's up, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV. My very first weapon review today. The M1 Irons is finally released on the PlayStation platforms, and today we're going to talk about it. First, we're going to run through some pros, and we're going to go cons. We're going to talk about the camos and other kind of crazy miscellaneous things, and then general opinion. I'm going to give you some suggested classes towards the end. So for pros, this is an incredibly high damage weapon. This thing is like 50 plus damage up close, dropping off to like 40-ish damage at a distance, something like that. It's going to be a 2 to 3 shot kill pretty much all the time. I'm not sure if it's a 4-shot kill, maybe at like extremely long ranges. Its other pros, it's got very low recoil. You can pretty much spam all 6 shots out as fast as you can go, and it's not going to kick too much on you. Speaking of spamming those 6 shots, it fires as fast as you can pull the trigger. If you've got a wicked trigger finger, you can shoot off 6 shots in 1 second. You can do it with this weapon. This gun absolutely spams out bullets, but that can be a hindrance more than a help sometimes. The other thing it's got is crazy awesome hipfire, which is actually going to factor into some of the classes later. The cons of this weapon are pretty noticeable at first. Number one is obviously the very short magazine. It only has 6 bullets, and there's no option for extended mags. You can only get it takes like 2 or 3 shots to get a guy, and for the average player that means it's going to take like 4 shots to get those 2 or 3 shots on to an enemy. So by the 4 shots, you don't have enough ammunition to take on a whole bunch more enemies. So unless they're going to line up right up in a row for you, there's going to be very low chance that you're going to get doubles and triple kills and crazy stuff like that. So you're pretty much stuck engaging one enemy at a time with this weapon. It's definitely the balancing factor of this, because everything else is very powerful in this weapon. But when you're attacking a group, you're going to be the one that's dead. Another kind of miscellaneous thing about it is that you cannot put a suppressor on it. Obviously, it's a revolver, so it shouldn't be that shouldn't be a mystery to anybody. But just because it's a stranger game with stranger weapons, variants, and attachments, it's another thing to note. The one bad thing that I can't get over with this weapon is that it requires 100% user accuracy. Now you might be thinking that I have 2 heads, like every gun in the game requires user accuracy. But say you're using a fully automatic weapon, say you're using the bow, and you're shooting it at somebody, you can pretty much like barely aim around them and just hold the trigger, and you'll hit them eventually. With this, with the small magazine, you have to aim every shot. You got to treat it as like a miniature marksman rifle. A close range marksman rifle where you have to make every single shot count. You can't just spray the bullets, because you'll miss 4 of them, and then you'll be screwed. So that's another thing to think about. Now we're talking about camos. I will have a camo video, an exclusive camo guide for this weapon coming out. It'll probably be in a link in the description, because I'll probably post the 2 videos at the same time. So definitely go and check that video out. But we're just going to touch on it briefly here in case you don't decide to check out that video, in which case you need help. Nah, but seriously, it's a special weapon. So if you want to see the royalty camo like I've got on in this video on the M1 Irons, you're going to have to do the other special weapon camos. So that means you're going to have to suffer through the MDL and the Crossbow. If you don't know what that's like, I'll post a link to the 3 of my videos down in the description: my special weapon royalty camo showcase, and both of my problematic Crossbow camos videos, just to give you guys a hint of how ridiculous it is for those special category camos. It's absolutely abhorrent. But if you're really willing to stick it out, the royalty camo does look very nice on the M1 Irons. The camos that you need to get diamond on the M1 Irons are headshots. You need 80 headshots. You need 80 point blanks. You need sliding kills shortly after dodging kills. You need kills with no perks and no attachments. Overall opinion of this weapon, I like it. It's a solid weapon, but it's not a competitive weapon, if you know what I mean. It's not something that you take into MLGs or something that you'd play ranked play with. It's definitely more of a fun gameplay weapon. It's definitely put in the game. It is like you can compete with very good weapons, but it's totally in the game just for fun, just for people to feel like a cowboy to run in and use your six shooter and shoot up people, and it's definitely a fun kind of weapon. It's not a serious weapon. Even though you can get some very good gameplays with this. It's not my cup of tea per se, but it's if put in the right hands, you could definitely dominate with this weapon. Um, it does have the potential for long range. It may seem strange that a pistol can have that long range potential. This is also actually going to be in one of my suggested classes later, so stay tuned for that. Um, it has the potential for long range, but I definitely prefer to keep it at close range, keep it up close and personal. Its main strength is those close range engagements. But if you are a sniper and you need a sniper secondary, say you get a hit marker with the last bullet in your Atlas 20, and and that thing takes like 4 years to reload. So you can just, if you use this as a wild card secondary, you could just take this out and use an ACOG scope on it and shoot a guy across the map with one bullet and take him out. It does have that long range potential. It also has the long range potential to be used as a marksman rifle itself. Although at long ranges it does take 3 shots to kill, and it can be hard to hit those 3 shots with only the 6-shot capacity. This leads me to some of the variants that I thought should have been in this game. A lot of the variants are very similar for the M1 irons. They're just other versions of the revolver. A lot of them have akimbo already attached, and then a lot of them are just the regular M1 irons. But there was two major variants that I thought should have been in the game that would have made this gun super cool to use. Um, the variants in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, they knew what they were doing when they made the variants. They had the right idea, but they didn't have the right effect when they made them. The variants for the M1 irons that I would have included would have been one, a variant with extended mags. Uh, Adding extended mags to this weapon is literally impossible unless you were to design some crazy chamber, crazy magazine. It would completely change the entire anatomy of the weapon to have extended mags on this. You'd have to make the bore smaller, unless you're going to make a completely different weapon. You'd have to make the bore of the chamber smaller. Then you could add eight bullets or 12 bullets into the magazine, and they would be smaller bullets, so the damage would go down. So this is what I'm thinking. Have a variant that's it's basically a variant is a completely different weapon, where it has 8 or 12 shots, but the damage is drastically lower. So it takes maybe 3 or 4 shots to kill instead of 2 or 3. So you could have all that extra ammunition, but it does take longer to get a kill. That would keep it balanced. That would be an awesome variant in this game. Another awesome variant that I thought would be a directed energy revolver. Basically, like the AE4, where it can overheat, but have it overheat super fast. So you shoot your 6 shots, you go bam, 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 and it overheats. If you spam out 6 shots, it'll overheat. But if you take your time, if you shoot 2 bullets at a guy and then wait for a second, or wait for 2 seconds, it'll cool back down. You shoot 2 more bullets and it'll cool back down. But when you're in a panic and you get up really close and you fire 6 shots off as fast as you can go, it immediately overheats, and you're no good for the next 10 seconds or something crazy. That would definitely bring some more variety to gameplays with the M1 irons, and I would like to see that a lot. That would be very cool. As for your suggested classes, they should be coming on screen now. Inspired by Borderlands 2, my first class for you guys is the Gunzerker. Loaded with perks, completely unstoppable. I use lightweight and flak jacket, gung-ho, fast hands, and hardwired. So you can run in, use your akimbo M1 irons, and blast people away. Never stop running, never get hindered by grenades or stuns. This is your go-to weapon for up close engagements, so I made this class for that. The next class I have for you guys is John Wayne. This is your typical cowboy class. You're gonna want to run quick draw grip, fast hands, and toughness. These are just class outlines, so you can put on whatever you want as well. But these are just my suggestions for you. Quick draw grip and fast hands are gonna keep you quick on the draw, so you can whip it out and shoot them really quick with all 6 of your shots. And toughness is gonna stop them from hitting you and knocking your aim off. My third and final class for you guys is the marksman class. This is what I was talking about, using this thing as a marksman rifle. You're definitely going to want to use advanced rifling so you have higher damage at longer range. I also put on low profile and cold-blooded so you stay off the radar, and so you see enemies before they see you. You're going to want to use toughness so you don't lose your aim when you get shot at, and definitely use an optic. The iron sights are good, but not at long range. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are using the M1 irons, and I hope you're going to try some of those suggested classes. They do work if you're using them in the right way. You can't use one for one purpose and one for another. They're definitely interchangeable. The M1 irons is a very different weapon. It's something that we haven't experienced in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare before, and it's definitely worth checking out. See you guys on my next video. Make sure you actually head over to my camo guide for M1 irons. I'm going to run through every camo. You're going to see every camo on this weapon, and I'm going to tell you how to get every camo the easiest way. Thanks a lot, guys. This is BlackTideTV, and I'll see you guys on my next video.